All right, so I'm going to start the recording. Okay, so um, Mel, can she hear? Mel, you good?
She's still fighting. Now she can't get through at all.
Yeah.
She can hear you just fine. She did hear what you were saying.
Okay, okay. Well, if she needs to like use her phone or something, I don't know if that would be helpful.
Maybe she should just shout so it gets picked up on Jason's mic.
There you go.
I mean, she could come just go sit in Jay's lab.
I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, you'd lose us for the game if you did that.
Okay. So you guys will hopefully notice that I photoshopped a bunch of handouts. Some of them are not great, but they should be kind of useful in character creation, which we're going to start now. Does anybody have any questions before we start with? Any questions before we get going?
We making a crew?
I mean, that's kind of up to you guys. It's it can be useful in like mechanically, but I don't really care.
I don't really think it's. Yeah, I was like, it's probably not needed, right?
Yeah, for a one shot, I mean, it's interesting
Yeah.
to look at, but ultimately, like, it's not necessarily super important just yet. I will tell you, if you haven't looked, the character sheets in this game are pretty great. If you just click in where it says, and I'm guessing that's, yeah, of course. Dave has already basically
Testing
done with
1 2.
There you are.
I've actually played before. Yeah, of course I made it already.
So, just to let you guys know, if in your character sheet where it says playbook, if you just type in your playbook and hit enter, it will auto-populate the correct playbook for you.
Oh,
You
click the gear.
Well,
and you
no.
get
Well,
even
see,
more
I've
options.
toyed with that, Dave. I find that it works better to type it in. You can do the gear, but then you actually have to physically click on add abilities and add friends. But if you just type in the playbook, it all populates.
The problem I had with populating was obviously if you looked at my sheet, I have two different archetypes at once. It's like, really? It doesn't kill them.
Well,
if
yeah,
you
but
swap.
you can actually get rid of those. Just
Which I'm just lazy.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I already know. I'm just leaving the bottom ones. I'm like, I don't care.
Okay. Yeah, so if you guys have an idea about which playbook you want to use, you can just click, like I said, I would just type it into where it says playbook and hit enter. Gwen, why does your thing in Roll20 say Cassandra?
That's because that's what my character's name is.
Okay. I was getting a little freaked out. I'm like, what the fuck?
Same reason mine changed.
Yeah, but... Oh, it does say Jimmy. Okay, Jesus, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I guess I buy you as a Jimmy, Dave. So it's just-
Really?
I don't know. That's weird.
The name is James. Thank you.
It's James the Shiv, not Jimmy. Like fuck you. So, all right. So right, you all play scoundrels. You all play daring criminals in the underworld of Duskvol. I'm trying to see like what I should read here. I mean, this is basically like classes, playbooks. If you guys, some of you I know have played like Dungeon World games. It's kind of similar in that respect. I guess I didn't make a handout for the different classes, but that is all right. So your options here are cutter. Cutters are good at winning fights with violence and with intimidation. Basically just big brutes, violent fighter types. There's the Hound, which are good at tracking things down and also long distance combat. Think of these as like kind of snipers. Leech. Leeches are good at using alchemy and wrecking stuff with sabotage, so they like make bombs. Play a leech if you want to be creative with weird tools. There's the Lurk. Lurks are good at sneaking around and breaking into places. Play a Lurk if you want to slink around in the shadows. This is probably more like your rogue type. Slides are good at social situations in subterfuge. Play a slide if you want to manipulate and deceive people. Spider. Spiders are good at masterminding maneuvers. Play a spider if you want to assist teammates and deal with other factions. And the Whisper. Whispers are good at magical stuff and dealing with ghosts. Play a Whisper if you want to meddle with arcane powers.
That would be me.
Yeah, and you will notice one of my favorite bits of this game are the animated rolls that are like fucking great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And there's actually each roll looks different. So you have your action rolls, fortune rolls, and resistance rolls, so the background on each of them actually looks different.
And Vice is different too. I noticed.
Vice, yes.
If you notice, I was playing with them a little bit.
Oh, I didn't scroll
because
up
I've
before.
only ever played in person.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's super good. Okay, so in character creation, and I did put, like I said, check your handouts because I did put these out. I put some of these out here. So the first thing you will choose is your heritage. I put a handout there in there, literally called heritage. So if you want to just pull that up, if the real short version is Duskvol sits on Akaros. I should have photoshopped a, which I didn't, like a map of the Imperium. You guys are really quiet today.
Well, I know I'm reading information because I looked over a bunch of stuff and it was all kind of, I wasn't quite sure where to even start.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, if you have
I'm trying to read
questions,
all
please
the
ask.
information.
Don't be afraid not to ask.
Yeah, that's why I'm quiet.
So how important is it that we all have different playbooks?
It's not super important. I mean, for a one shot, like I'm not super concerned about that.
So it's not like Dungeon World where you have to all be different.
No.
Yeah, I mean it's useful to vary it up, but it's not necessary. Like you don't absolutely have to.
Okay, because I totally want to be a whisperer.
Pretty sure, like even one of the things in the actual book is like suggest maybe you want to run one with all the same type, and it's like
That would be hilarious.
you get to choose whatever you want. It's nice.
Yeah, 'cause
All right.
it looks like we have 2 cutters so far, and I know we have
Nice.
at least 1 whisper. Jason, I guess are you undecided? Oh no, Jason's a hound. I got it. Okay.
Jason's a hound, and we have.
Conrad?
2 cutters, a
I haven't
hound.
picked anything yet.
Yeah, 2 cutters, a hound, a whisper, and Conrad, whatever you want to do.
If you'd rather be a hound, I was also debating spider.
I was thinking hound or slide, so I might go slide.
Awesome.
I'm assuming you don't care how detailed we get with the background.
No, I'll ask some questions to help prompt you. Which yeah, so let's sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once because I should have created a map and now I'm gonna try to find it, but that's okay. Yeah, we'll go through. This is how I did it last time, and I think it worked pretty well. So I know Conrad is still debating his class, but his playbook.
I think I just picked slide. So
Okay. Okay, so we have 2 cutters, a slide, a whisper, and a hound. Cool. Okay. So for heritage will become important later, but right now, like Akaros, like I said, Akaros is where Duskvol is. There's other islands. Think of the Imperium as there's I think like 5 or 6 different large kind of islands, or maybe very small continents, depending on your outlook. So there are obviously boats, like I said, they're steam-powered boats and things that can get you from island to island. This whole game is going to take place in Duskvol, but just to let you know. So, like, if you want to be from somewhere else, it shows you in the heritage thing, like, what being from those places is kind of like. But if you just want to default to Akaros, I'm totally fine with that, just to make it easy on yourself. There's a fly in here, and I can hear it through my headphones.
Don't you just love that?
Well, it wouldn't irritate me so much, but I hung up a fly strip. And of course,
But I kind of like the idea of being Dothraki, so that's totally what it is.
okay.
She's from Severos, she's military, she's Dothraki all the way, and she looks like Lydia from Alfie. Yes!
Really?
Yes. Well, to
All
be
right.
fair, ask Jason, my character Monica or Demonica, has always been tall, darker skinned, dark haired, golden eyed. So it works.
Nice.
Okay. You fucking fly. Okay. Do. Okay.
What is this?
So, okay. So heritage, like I said, you guys can all pick that. We'll get there in a second. Well, hold on. We'll get to device in a couple steps here. So each of
We
you will
already chose mine.
each of you will choose a background. Background describes what you did before you joined the crew. This is not like D&D. I'm not expecting like a full page backstory. Your options here are, and I put them on a handout, so you should be able to see them in backgrounds. Academic, labor, law, trade, military, noble, or underworld. If for example, if Monica was a soldier, then military is what your background's going to be.
Which one would a whore be? Trade or underworld?
I would. You could go either. I think that maybe the clarification there is going to be that trade would be maybe a higher, like a better whore. Underworld would be
Like,
basically like a street prostitute.
That's a real. Hmm. Do I want to be a call girl or do I just want to be?
I mean, but this is, and let me. I should have said this up front. Blades is very much a game that inspires collaboration and conversation. So don't feel like you have to do like, well, I guess I'm choosing this, so I have to do this thing. Like, there's a lot more flexibility built into the game than in other games.
I mean, I could also say it would be a laborer as well.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense to me. Yeah. I mean, strictly speaking, it is laborious work. So.
Oh, I'm not muted.
I mean, under labor, it says literally a servant, a factory worker. I mean, a servant, a prostitute is a kind of servant, a factory worker. I mean, if you're in a certain kind of factory, I guess. But yeah, like you could totally get there.
A docker.
Yeah.
Oh, she's docking something.
I think you mean doxy, but that's okay. So I'm so desperately trying to find this world map, and it's going to drive me. Oh, there it is. I literally just slipped past it. Okay, so we know it's toward the back. Okay, so yeah. Does everyone have like an idea about your background? Is anybody really confused or have questions?
I got it.
Okay. I'm assuming silence is okay. So like, please let me know if you need to slow down or whatever. Now, because you guys all did your character sheets, as soon as you put in like whatever your class is, it automatically should have given you 3 dots. Like I'm looking at Gwen's sheet, it automatically gave you 1 in study and 2 in attune, which is what the whisper gets for being a whisper. But you will get 4 additional action dots, all of you will, to start. You will get 1 dot in any action that you feel reflects your character's heritage. So this is where you get to tell me how your heritage gives you a point. So, Monica, your heritage is Severos, so you're Severosi.
Mm-hmm.
So what about being Severosi? It's considered the wild by the rest of the Empire. Outside of the few Imperial settlements, most Severosi live in nomadic horse tribes, as you already described, surviving within the ruins of ancient arcane fortresses, which still repel spirits. So what do you think, with that background, where would you put a point based on that heritage?
Looking at the various like insight, prowess, and resolve things, I'm thinking either hunt or prowl to an extent, just because we're constantly roaming and we're searching and things of that nature and survivalistic.
Okay, yeah, either of those make sense to me.
I'm just not sure what those mean though, hunt versus prowl.
So I put it in, there's a handout. It's called like the action handouts.
Okay.
So if you look,
Thank you. I tried clicking on the actual ability to see if it gave me information, and
no, that's why I put these handouts in there. So you'll see hunt and prowl are on action 1.
Yep, I'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay, prowl is more like stealth. Okay, does everyone have one for back or for heritage? Excuse me. Is anyone lost?
Lost, no, but still reading.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not lost. I just can't.
You can't what?
I just can't decide.
Okay.
Can we also put an additional point into something we've already got?
No. As you start, you max out at 2 on anything right now.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask because I did not think to ask that or mention that.
What do you mean? You're not perfect?
I mean, I try, but I failed. I apologize. What can I?
I'm so disappointed in you.
As well, you should be. If you guys want to just quit now, I understand.
All right, I'll see you later. Bye.
Okay.
But you need to see me play
So
a
if I'm-
gluttonous, slutty character.
If I'm Skovlin, I could have like a point and prowl because I have to like steal my own food, or I had to as a kid as heritage, since I'm from the poor part of things. That's how that's sort of like the heritage applying to a action you can pick.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm doing too many things at once. Um. Do, do, do. Yeah, if you want to play as wild, or no, that's Severos I'm reading, sorry. Marginalized people, Skovlanders, the Island Kingdom. Yeah, sorry, what did you, Conrad, what was the skill you were looking at for that?
Prowl, like
Oh, for food, because yeah, I mean, because the thing is, Skovland was basically wrecked by the war between Akaros and Skovland, so it's totally reasonable that you would have to prowl and learn how to like steal food to survive. Yeah.
cool.
Anyone else? Anyone else like caught up on the heritage bit?
Nope, I'm good with that. I just want to know which side of the line to put the dot on.
Well, the first point goes on the left.
That's what I need to know.
Yeah, and that'll come up later, and I will explain that briefly in a minute. Okay, so that's your first point. Your second dot will be something that you feel reflects your character's background. So since Dave is already done with his character sheet, his background is Underworld. So what did you take for that, Dave? You might be muted.
Oh, because I put it to push a talk. That's why. That was the other point in command, actually.
So what about your background? Like gives you?
I'm an enforcer. I've always been an enforcer. I'm a large, imposing motherfucker. That the only reason people keep you around is to beat people up and make them pay.
Okay.
I'm literally a thug.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you can use your background. So like Mel for Monica, like what does having been in the military, like where does the point go? Wreck. Okay.
Yeah, so I'd always picture her as like despite being female, she's she's broad, she's buff, she's the one to kick down the door.
Okay.
Command, front of line, that kind of thing.
Okay. Cassandra, Gwen, like what do you have an
I
idea?
put mine into consort because I'd imagine that a whore would be pretty good at talking to people.
Well, yeah,
Getting them
you
to
kind of
do
have to be.
manipulation, making friends. So yeah, I put my other one into consort as well.
Okay. I think Conrad, you've not put yours in yet. So, Jason,
Background as a gunsmith. I'm a tinker.
yeah, that makes absolute sense. Conrad, do you have yours?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with survey. As a street urchin, one of the ways I was able to earn coin was by sneaking into places and scouting out like how many guards might be there for the actual gangs as a kid. So
Definitely makes total sense to me. And then the other 2 points you can put wherever you want. There's no background or heritage required, just wherever you want.
Nice.
so we could put the other two in the same we've already picked to bring them up to 2, but not above 2.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then having more points gives you more dice on the check.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and we can't go above 2.
Not yet. No.
No. You have to have a crew that's able to let you go above 2.
Plan a you load.
Okay. Is everyone good with that? Putting your 2 points in? Your
Think I'm
3
done.
points. You can put them wherever you want. Next, each of you will choose a friend and a rival. And if you I think I looked at all of your character sheets. It auto-populated for a list of friends for each of your different classes, which I think is fucking great. So if your friend gets the up arrow, your rival gets the down arrow. If you have someone in mind that you want to add, feel free to add it. It's up to you. I'm not really going to fight you on that. Oh, I guess we have to choose a special ability too, which I skipped.
Yeah.
Are
some
there
point.
like law enforcement?
Oh yeah.
What
Oh,
are
yeah.
they called?
Well, I mean, it depends. There's a lot of law in the city.
One of my, I mean, I did kind of have an idea for.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the blue coats are basically like the cops in the city. Blue coats are generally, you know, like they're the lowest level of law in the city. It would depend on your backstory, but I mean, they're the inspectors, which are higher ranking than the blue coats. They're kind of like detectives. So maybe.
Hmm.
Shit, I can't decide on who I want to be the dangerous friend. Physiker is obviously my friend. For liking to get into scraps and overindulge in things.
You too? Oh, high five. We're making the same characters.
Well, a part of me goes like the pugilist. We started as a friendly rivalry, and then they went after somebody I actually care about cruelly, and now I want them dead, and vice versa. But then it's just like there's an extortionist.
That one would already be my enemy.
With the extortionist.
Grayson
All right.
Extortionist.
All right, I'll go with the pugilist then, just for some swap up.
Oh, okay.
What, you want to be buddies against one another?
We can
Have the same? Okay. I
we
like
can
that
team
idea.
up against them. Come on. We
I
gotta
like
stick
that idea.
together. We're both big thugs
Wait a
anyways.
minute. Did we just make Lydia and Marco?
This is Jimmy and Monica.
Cassandra is Alfie.
Oh God, no.
No. Jimmy is much bigger than Marco.
Oh, so
Jimmy?
he's beard face.
Yes, I was gonna say he's weird face.
So you're Alfie's mom.
Oh God.
And I think Sean is face palming.
Probably.
I actually didn't. I'm sorry. I'm very quickly trying to create another handout for you guys. Actually, I'm trying to Photoshop while I'm like looking at shit.
For which part?
Can we have a crew and it's called the Butt Smithy?
No, you may not.
Even I'm gonna say no on that one.
Let's see if this works.
We'll just be called Surprise.
Who's your friend though, Monica?
Physiker.
The Physiker is your friend?
Yeah,
Mine's a vicious thug.
Yeah, no. Monica gets into too many scraps to not have somebody who could, like, presumably give her a hand when she, gets in over her head.
You're my drug supplier now?
Boy.
Okay, so I just linked the map. I just photoshopped that very quickly. So this is the Imperium, to give you an idea. So you'll notice that Duskvol is at the very northern tip of Akaros, which is at the top right there. But just if that helps you guys at all, just to give you an idea. And because I there we go. Okay. All right. So sorry about that. Close that. Okay. So you guys all have a friend and a rival.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, you should choose a special ability, and again, it should have auto-populated on your character sheets. You can just click the little dot for whichever one is appealing to you. If you can't decide, the first choice is probably the best choice. The game is designed with that idea in mind. Okay. All right, now for what is maybe the best part. I guess I should ask, is anybody like far behind? Does anybody have questions? Silence. I love it.
So
Silence.
Like one of the special abilities I can take is Brooks Gambit. It says take 2 stress to roll your best action rating while performing different action.
Okay.
So I don't know what stress is, but I'm sure it's a consequence. And then is your best action rating like rolling the best?
The one you have the most dots in. So for you it would be probably I'm looking
Sway
at
or study.
Yeah. So if you can find a way to explain how you use sway instead of something else, you take 2 stress and then you can roll that instead of what would normally fit into that thing.
Oh, okay.
I like that. The slide has a move called like looking into a mirror. You can
Yeah,
always
that's the one
tell
I'm
when
thinking of
someone is
taking.
lying to you.
I was thinking about just taking that one too, because that's just passively always useful.
Nice. Okay, so choose your vice. And I did make a handout for this. So you're free to look at it. It's just called Vice. You will choose one of those vices. This game operates, and I guess I should show you this now. This game operates in this kind of structure. So we start with free play. Then we move to engagement. Then we do the score, which is the job or the mission. Then we move to downtime. In downtime, part of downtime is, as you can see, payoff, heat, entanglements, downtime activities. Part of that is relieving stress. You can and ideally should use your vice to relieve stress. So I know Dave. I'm gonna keep pulling on your character sheet.
I don't mind. I totally made up who he goes to, just so you know.
So okay. So Dave chose Stupor, where he indulges in dream smoke, which is one of the drugs. And there's a list of drugs. I didn't put it in a handout, but I can find it for you. Dream smoke and fighting at the Red Pit Gambling Hall. And you literally wrote so much it ran off the thing. Run by Red Ann.
Yeah?
So, like, whenever we're in downtime, Dave's character will go to the Red Pit Gambling Hall. He will get high, and he will start fighting. And that's how his character will relieve stress. Which is kind of ironic, considering all you do is fight.
Since I was going to pick gambling, I'm going to use the Red Pit Gambling place as my purveyor.
I like it.
I bet on you.
And the thing here is, you can absolutely be in the same place. But like I said, I do have a list of places, where you will go to indulge your vice. So like if you want to choose something else, like sex or, there is one called faith. You're dedicated to an unseen power, a forgotten god. Like I said, I do have a list somewhere that I will try to find. Here it is. Nice. Okay. So does anybody have a vice, but they're not sure where they should indulge it? Because you need to have a vice purveyor, someone who actually purveys your vice.
Oh, I mean, I've got Stupor as well, but she's more like she gets drunk and goes into bar fights, so less like a betting place. I don't know if
Sure.
there's something-
Okay. So you want to go somewhere to get drunk and just fight people?
Yeah.
And we can't fight together. That'd be unfair to everyone else.
It really would be. I think that like would your character Mel, would they go get drunk in a common place, a low place, a high place? Does that matter to you?
Low to common, probably being an outsider.
I mean, one of the most common places anywhere is the Leaky Bucket, which sits in Crowsfoot. It is a tavern. It is a known tavern of ill repute. Fighting, drunken nonsense. Most
Sounds
scoundrels in the city are familiar with it as it sits in Crowsfoot.
Sounds good.
Conrad, ideas?
Yeah, gambling.
Oh, we already decided yours. I'm sorry.
Red Pit Gambling.
Okay. Jason.
Definitely going to be pleasure. I just haven't decided what type yet.
Okay. Let me know when you do. Gwen.
I go to a place called the Rusty Trombone.
No, you don't. What is it for?
It's a whorehouse and a tavern.
Okay. Is it like upscale?
No.
So
It's
like,
very much probably in the slums.
so why don't we say the Jewel Bird and Shine in Cat Crawl Alley in the docks?
I like the Rusty Trombone, though.
No, because that's a dirty sex joke, and I don't want to listen to that. That's already gross on its own.
All right, then how about the Dragon and the Maid?
Sure. Okay.
Aren't you so happy I've given it like a normal name?
It's sad that excites me. Who are we missing? Anybody? Does everyone have their vice and vice purveyor?
And where? The Cat Crawl Alley?
Yeah, Cat Crawl Alley in the docks. Here now you will record your name, your alias, and your look. Obviously, your name, your actual name, is not necessarily what people call you. Jimmy, obviously, James Rallis is just known as Jimmy the Shiv. So Shiv might be just his alias.
Mr. Shiv.
Yeah, that's Mr. Shiv to you. Excuse me.
And Monica's her name, but they call her D Monica because demon is in the name and
Right,
she's
okay.
vicious.
And if you're not sure, there is a short list of aliases there that is on it's on the names, aliases, and look sheet. And next you will obviously record your look. And there is a list of different looks there you can choose from. Pants, shirts, that kind of thing. Okay. I already put a list of the actions down there. Are we all on the same page here?
Yeah, just trying to think of an alias.
Okay.
I am the White Queen.
Ed.
Okay, so I will. Let's see. Okay. Is there anything else that anyone needs to fill in that they haven't filled in? Okay.
Other than the crew.
Yeah, I mean the crew is not, and I did create a crew sheet that you should all be able to see. You can just get to it from your own character sheet, but this one's kind of universal. That way you can all see it. But in the section above your playbook, there's that thing that says character mode. If you click on that, it'll switch to a second sheet that says crew and a third sheet that says faction. But I did, like I said, create a universal one for you guys. And again, like it's not super important to me that we use this if it's something because it's going to be of limited use, especially in a one shot. But long term, this is definitely something that. Did you okay? But yeah, there are different types of crews. Basically, this is how your crew functions. This is like, are you assassins? Are you bravos? Are you smugglers? Like, what? Again, like it's not super important for a one shot. If it's something you guys want to do, I'm totally fine with it.
Pretty sure two of us are part of the protection racket.
Yeah, you have assassins, bravos, occult, hawkers, which are hawkers are in the habit of cooking drugs and selling them. Shadows, I think someone just closed that. Shadows, smugglers. We're not going to work with vigilantes because that's a hack that somebody put in there that I don't have rules for. Is that something you guys are interested in? Do you care?
If for one shot, it's no big deal. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think we're too worried about it.
I'm really, yeah.
That's why I asked the person, like, do we need a crew? Because I didn't really care.
Yeah. When I ran my last one shot, they just quickly chose, I think, like Bravos, because Bravos end up with 2 thugs to begin with. But yeah, like I said, it's not super important.
We already have 2 thugs.
That's true, you do. But you could have 2
Huh?
more
What?
thugs.
We are thugs.
No.
You get drunk and beat people. I get high and beat people. It's great.
Okay. So why don't we, Monica? You didn't. It looks like you didn't record a look yet.
Yeah, I just put Lydia for Alfie. Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
the
I
same
mean, like, what kind of clothes?
same thing. Like, she has the rough spun tunic, the casual pants, the travel boots.
Okay. Well, why don't you just write that down because I won't remember that.
Okay.
So why don't we start out with Vaughn Cleland, who Jason is playing. Jason, I'm going to kind of ask you some questions about your character to give us all like a better picture here.
Absolutely.
So you are a hound. Your alias is Gunny. Your look. Do you want to describe your look?
I'm honestly just a average height, thin, wiry guy with very scarred hands and a tricorn hat that covers up most of my face. And otherwise, other than that, I'm just completely plain clothes.
Okay. And
Always have the hat though.
and it being from the Dagger Isles, like how does that impact your character? Like what about that made them a hound exactly? Do you know?
Honestly, it was more the tinkering that made him a hound. He kept making better and better guns, and how can you make a better gun if you don't know how to use it? And you have to use it on something.
Okay, fair enough.
Or someone.
Okay. So for your friend, you chose Melvir, a physiker. Like, what's that relationship about? How did you meet him?
I blew off my pinky, and bad things happened.
Okay.
And just continually happened. And eventually, you strike up a conversation when he asked the question of, what did you do this time?
And are your hands scarred from your experimentation as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. And Casta, a bounty hunter, I'm guessing, as your rival, that you guys have taken jobs apart each other, opposing each other?
Most assuredly. And I have a very I'm figuring that Casta is a little bit more close range, and when you're getting right up on top of somebody and then all of a sudden they fall over, nah.
Okay. Yeah, so she definitely does not like you. Fair enough. Okay. Conrad, why don't you talk to me about Edlin Keel?
All right. Well, he's a short, grimy, kind of dirty, but affable-looking guy. He's gets along well with others usually. He wears a long coat and then some just simple work trousers and rough tunic.
Okay. And his alias looks like Crow. And you're from Scovlin.
Yeah, Scovlin.
Okay. Looks like your rival here is Brill, who is a drug dealer. What's that about?
So I kind of I got one of the things I did was spy on Brill a little bit to figure out when one of his shipments would be, so the gang I was hired by could obtain it first. And he found out about it and is mad.
Okay. Cool. And you're friends with Bajo Baz. How do you know Bajo?
I do a lot of odd jobs for Baz, or I did when I was, I don't know, I'm still pretty young. So I've he's helped me out a lot, and I guess kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy Quill and
The blue guy, his name I don't know.
the Michael Rooker's character.
Yeah.
Kind of like that relationship. Not quite as close, but I was always useful to him, and as a small guy, I was, easily picked on. So he kind of looked after me and offered me some protection in exchange for work.
Okay. Okay, cool. Dave. And also, Dave, I don't know if you know this. You don't need to mark the equipment. You shouldn't do that yet. You want to do that in the middle of the mission, not.
Oh, he cannot be contained without that sword. He carries it everywhere. That's why I'm not worried about it.
Well, it's not that. Like you're kind of
Oh, I know.
breaking the mechanics a little bit by clicking that stuff because that should come later.
Oh no, I was just messing with it to make sure it worked.
Okay.
It doesn't automatically update, by the way. Just so you know, it doesn't auto update. You have to make sure you change your load. Anyways, you're talking about Jimmy the Shiv, the wonderful man, the not so wonderful man from Duskvol. Grew up in the slums, beating people up. Has his best friend, Chael, who just beats people up with him. And of course, Grace the extortionist owes her money at all times. Drugs are expensive, man. Drugs are expensive.
So yeah, but Grace isn't is Grace your purveyor?
No, he's just the one that he borrows money from.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you borrow money from Grace to buy your drugs.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
And she makes him do things for her.
Yeah. Well, that seems reasonable. Okay. I think that's it. Cassandra.
Cassandra is a petite young woman. She's grew up as a whore. She still kind of is into it because she kind of likes it. She's pretty well known in the city actually as the White Queen. She generally will stay in the slums, but sometimes she'll wander out. She has a lover that is an inspector, and she'll generally manipulate him with pillow talk to get information, that sort of thing.
You actually only needed one rival and one friend, but that's okay.
Well, it made all of them, so I figured, fuck it.
Okay.
Her main rival is a spirit trafficker named Flint. He used to be an ex-lover, but she wouldn't quit being a whore for him, so, they kind of split up. Now there's a lot of bad blood there. And that's about it, I guess.
So I have to ask because you made yourself a whisper. Like, what is it? Like, how did you become a whisper? How does that impact
She's always been a whisperer.
Okay.
Like, her parents gave her up, abandoned her when she was tiny because she could see strange things, and it freaked them the shit out.
Well, the thing is, if she's Taika Rossi, then they probably would have embraced her for that. Because Taika Rossis are basically in bed with demons.
Okay. Well, then I guess she's Taika Rossi and her parents loved her. But yeah, she could see that. She could always see them when she was little. It's always been like, the norm for her. She doesn't really, see it as like something special.
Okay. Okay. Right. And how did you piss off Lord Skurlock?
The vampire?
Yeah. Skurlock, you may not realize this. Skurlock is a sort of a noble lord in Duskvol.
Okay. Oh God. Maybe she slept with his wife. She got caught in bed with his lover.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that.
Pretty cool.
I can see that pissing Skurlock off for sure. Okay. Demonica, you're last.
Demonica, being a foreigner, she's tall, dark, athletic, kind of got a bit of a fierce feature to her, almost, very wild on the edges. She wears very simple clothes, trying to blend in a little more from like typical furs and stuff. She's got a friend that's physical because she likes to drink and get into fights and doesn't necessarily know her own strength or the strength of the people she's challenging. So that's how that friendship came to be. Kind of same concept as Gunny. Okay, what happened this time? From there, excuse me. Marilyn was originally a friend They had a friendly rivalry that got spiteful because the competition went a little too far. So Monica bested her one too many times, and she went after, I'll say Sawtooth, just because that is probably one of her closer friends, just to try and chase them off from helping Monica, and so the friendship turned sour quickly.
Okay. That seems reasonable to me. Okay. Okay, cool. Is there anything left in character creation? Any questions, comments? Like, is there any other thing that needs clarifying?
I mean, I guess Cassandra is known as a white queen because she's extremely pale, white haired. She has silver eyes, so she's like super pale. She almost looks albino.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm sure you'll stand out in the ever-present Duskvol night.
Probably. I mean, she wears dark clothing, but
Okay.
Snowball.
no woman.
All right. So why don't we get started then? So we had character creation and everything like that. Because this is a one shot, we're pretty much going to jump into it without doing much unless there's a character scene you guys are like dying to do before we like get into like the score. Anybody?
I'm good.
Okay. So yeah. So and I'm gonna have to keep pulling up character sheets to remember your names. So Edlin. Well, actually, let me clarify this. So all of you know, because you are all denizens of Duskvol, the rumors have been effectively exploding throughout the city streets that recently the leader of the Crows in Crowsfoot, a man by the name of Rorik, was just recently killed. People are saying that it was his second in command, Lissa, who killed him, and now she is in control of the Crows. The real hiccup here is there was sort of a tenuous peace between the three main gangs in Crowsfoot, which are the Lampblacks, the Red Sashes, and the Crows. As Edlin well knows, Bajo Baz is the leader of the Lampblacks. And recently, he has been consolidating power, because now that Lissa is in control, that peace between them is basically fracturing as we speak. Violence in the city is increasing rapidly. There's constantly blood on the streets. And so these gangs are reaching out and trying to stabilize and figure out what their next plays are. So Edland, I think Bajo Baz reaches out to you because he.
What was the name of his gang again?
The Lampblacks.
Lampblacks. Okay.
I'll put it in chat. You would all, of course, know that the Lampblacks were previously a respected and hardworking guild, referred to as the Lamplighters, because prior to the recent technological advances that allow for electric light, somebody had to keep lights on in the city. So they had a guild called the Lamplighters, whose job it was to keep all the lights, the street lights, torches, everything in the city lit, because again, there's no sun to speak of. So when the technology advanced enough that electric light is affordable and relatively easy for people to get a hold of, the Lamplighters kind of suddenly went out of business. So they took their considerable force and moved it to a different avenue, let's say. Edlin, Bajo Baz, he sends a messenger to you to reach out because, and this does not surprise you at all. All of you have been seeing this in your own ways about how it's starting to impact the city. And he reaches out to you and asks if you can put a crew together if you're interested in a job.
I'll tell the messenger to tell Bazo that I think I know just the people.
Okay. So have you guys worked together before?
I'd assume we at least know each other. Maybe some small gig on the side.
I'd
Know each
assume
other.
Monica knows Gunny because we both go to the same physical friend, and knows Jimmy because we both like to scrap, so we probably ran into each other and probably even fought each other once or twice just for shits and giggles.
Right. And I think Edlin and Jimmy actually go to the same bar.
Yeah,
yeah.
They both use Red Ann as a purveyor for their vices.
And I'm sure Gunny has slept with Cassandra.
Probably.
Most likely.
So Edlin goes to Jimmy, Jimmy goes to Monica, Monica goes to Gunny, Gunny goes to Cassandra.
Okay. So you guys, excuse me.
That worked out really well.
Yeah. And one of the things about this game are that we allied time. So we are basically we're gonna flash forward to all of you guys meeting at the warehouse that is owned and controlled by the Lampblacks. Edlin, you have assembled all of these people. It's you've all made your way separately. Maybe a couple of you have kind of met up on the way, but you are standing before a very large, quite old warehouse. It's in decent shape. Maybe certain sections of it are in disrepair. But this is where the Lampblacks, formerly the Lamplighters, would do the bulk of their work. So the place was effectively they store coal, they store fuel for the lights, but of course none of these things are being used anymore.
All those poles to fill it from the ground. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So as you kind of walk up, there's a couple, very common-looking thugs outside of the doors, and they see you coming, Edlin, and they recognize you immediately. So they just sort of the one kind of just casually goes over and opens the door for all of you. The smell of the warehouse is pretty powerful. It's just coal and dirt. Very gritty kind of smell as soon as the door opens, and you make your way into the warehouse. You see a bunch of other thugs throughout the warehouse. They've kind of set up tables, and they've tried to quote unquote clean the place. But there's some tables. There's a bunch of thugs playing cards. There's some poker going on. A bunch of casual conversations. Nobody appears to be really sitting down and getting drunk. You probably wouldn't want to start drinking in a place that's filled with coal. But there's a bunch of thugs here. You guys head immediately back, and there's a staircase that heads up to a second-story office. And outside of the office, there is a very thin, small man, probably 5'2", 5'3", very, very short. Who Edlin you recognize immediately as Pickett. Pickett is one of Bajo's kind of right-hand men. He little bit of a spy, little rat-faced motherfucker. Like, everybody kind of knows Pickett, but nobody knows Pickett, if you take my meaning. And he's just kind of quietly sitting there. He's got his foot up on, the edge of the door, and he's got his arms crossed. And he appears to be, chewing on a toothpick or something. And he just kind of, gives you a nod, and the door appears to already be open into Bajo's office. Bajo is sitting behind a fairly large desk, which actually ends up cramping the room. The room is significantly smaller because of the size of his desk. There's a small light he's got on the desk with him. He appears to have what appears to be a glass of some sort of brownish liquid. And he's kind of swirling it in his hand as you walk in. And kind of next to him, against the wall, there's a large looking guy, like Jimmy, probably similar in size to you.
I get you, yeah. Enforcer.
Yeah, he looks the type for sure. Edlin, I think you know that this man's name is Henner. Henner is Bajo's other hand.
Mhm.
And Bajo's kind of sitting behind the desk. And, Bajo looks fairly workaday, right? Button-down shirt, not necessarily, really well kept. He's got suspenders on. Maybe you can see he's got some work boots that are, peeking out from under the desk. And he kind of nods at, none of you and all of you at once. And there are no chairs in this room, aside from the one Bajo appears to be sitting in. And yeah, Bajo looks to you, Edlin, kind of gives you a nod.
Hey, Bazo.
Hey, Edlin, it's good that you came. I see you brought some friends with you, and you can see him pretty clearly inspecting the rest of you.
take a picture, love. It lasts longer.
And his eyebrow goes up. He's like, think I like you.
Monica gives this like
Mhm.
sneer, which is more just kind of like this half snarl, no sound, just like. "Huh."
From the way Gunny tells it, she lasts all night.
Hmm.
If you can keep up with her. Tip my hat slightly.
And I think Henner actually at this point kind of like you see him crack a smile from the corner of the room. He kind of smiles and he's definitely checking you out, Cassandra. Like he's definitely looking you up and down, and he's probably like 2 or 3 times bigger than you. I mean he's a large man,
Nice.
and
She
he's
digs it.
yeah
She
he's
digs
he's
it.
he's definitely checking her out for sure.
Everybody seems to be.
Yeah, and Bajo is kind of like silent. He says, "Well, as much as I like admiring fine art, I think we should get to business, don't you think?"
Yeah, what seems to be the trouble?
Sorry guys, hang on. Someone is knocking at the door.
I love when that
Send him
happens.
the
Really
Jimmy.
unusual, actually.